2 minutes after midnight, over the Pacific Ocean. A Boeing 757 climbs away from Lima, and the instruments begin to argue. The airspeed says too fast. The stall warning says too slow. The overspeed horn and the too low warning are screaming at the same time. Both cannot be true. Tonight, none of them are. The airplane isn't broken, it's blind, and it doesn't know it. October 2nd, 1996. Aeroperú Flight 603, Lima to Santiago, 70 people aboard. How does a modern jet, 3 redundant instrument systems, 2 experienced pilots, lose the ability to know its own speed and its own height? The answer was applied that afternoon by hand, and it cost a few cents a meter. This is the chain. In the left seat, Captain Eric Schreiber, 58 years old, 22,000 flight hours. In the right seat, First Officer David Fernandez, 8,000 hours. Between them, a near-new Boeing 757, one of the most automated airliners of its era. Every number that matters, altitude, airspeed, rate of climb, enters the airplane through a handful of small holes in the fuselage skin. Static ports. No moving parts, nothing to fail, unless something covers them. And here is the detail that decides everything tonight. The transponder, the box that tells air traffic control where you are and how high, drinks from the same holes. That evening the aircraft was washed and polished. To keep water out, the ports were masked over. The procedure calls for conspicuous covers, bright, flagged, impossible to miss. What went on instead was adhesive tape, silver tape, on a silver fuselage, at night. The polishing ended, the tape stayed. Every check that followed happened in the dark, and silver on silver gave nobody a reason to look twice. Flight 603 taxied out with its senses sealed shut, and no one aboard knew. Rotation, liftoff, and immediately the numbers are wrong. The altimeter crawls when it should climb, then the warnings begin. Rudder ratio, Mach speed trim, then overspeed, and in the same breath, stall. The 757 is telling its crew they are flying too fast and too slow at the same time, too high and too low at once. Every alarm is running on the same poisoned data. The autopilot is flying on the same bad numbers, pitching, trimming, chasing speeds that don't exist. The crew disconnects it and takes the airplane by hand. But hand flying only helps if you can trust what you see. They can't. Every dial in front of them is confident and wrong. The crew does the disciplined thing. They ask Lima for an independent check. What do you show for our altitude? Lima reads it off the radar screen, and it matches the cockpit. Confirmation. Except it isn't. The controller's screen shows Mode C data, altitude measured by the aircraft itself, through the same taped-over ports. The lie travels to the ground and comes back wearing a uniform. The one cross-check they trusted was a closed loop. They turn back toward Lima, descending over black water. No moonlit horizon, no lights below, only instruments, the ones that are lying. The altimeter reads 9,700 feet. The left wingtip touches the Pacific. For 19 more seconds, they fly. Then the ocean takes Flight 603. 29 minutes, takeoff to impact. The most experienced man on the aeroplane never once received a number he could trust. The investigation traced the chain. Tape applied for polishing, never removed. A walk-around in the dark. Ports that feed every instrument. and the transponder, which turned air traffic control into an echo of the cockpit's own error. One maintenance worker, Eleuterio Chacaliazza, was convicted of negligent homicide. His sentence? 2 years, suspended. The investigation's own leadership argued the deeper failure was above him, a procedure that permitted invisible tape where the standard demanded a cover no one could miss. The point of failure wasn't a man with tape, it was a system that let tape be enough. It is tempting to end the story with the man who left the tape on. He was convicted, his sentence was suspended. But the tape was caught by no one else either, not the walk-around, not the dispatch, not the checklist. A single strip of adhesive defeated every layer that was supposed to stop it. That is not one careless man. That is a system with no backstop. And it had happened before. 8 months earlier, another Boeing 757, Aeroperú Flight 301, out of the Dominican Republic, took off with a blocked pitot tube. Most likely a wasp had built a nest inside it while the aircraft sat unused. A different hole, sealed a different way, but the same impossible contradiction. One airspeed too high, another too low, overspeed and stall together. It fell into the Atlantic 5 minutes after takeoff. 189 people died. 2 757s in a single year, brought down not by broken machines, but by blocked holes, a wasp's nest, and a strip of tape. Together they forced a reckoning. Regulators mandated new training for exactly this failure: unreliable airspeed. Today, every airline pilot drills a set of memory items for the moment the instruments turn liar, pitch and power settings you can fly by when no number can be trusted. The lesson was paid for twice. Today, the fix hangs from every airliner you will ever board. A bright cover, a long red streamer, 4 stitched words: remove before flight. The tape cost pennies. So did the cover that would have saved 70 lives. It was always only ever pennies.